Hi, Davi here, and today we have a new episode in the Art Review series, and today we'll be checking out the work of Simone Di Meo. Now, I've seen this guy way back, but I recently found their work again here on the Instagram, and they do have such a... I mean, they're a comic artist, obviously, but the way they ink is very unique because usually when you look at comics, Western comics, they do emphasize like the hatching a lot, but for Simon here or Simon, aside from the colors and everything, which is so like vivid and just attractive to look at, if you look at the hatching style, let me just open a few images here. Is this Wolverine or the girl version with the two? Um, I was gonna say horns, but blades. Um, yeah, if you look at the hatching, there is none. I mean, the only hatching or the closest thing to a hatch in their work is this sort of noise texture you see in between the light and darks, but that's pretty much it. Everything else is kind of flat in that way. And whenever you see like a gradation of values or shading, it's I think they're just using soft brushes to achieve this look. Um and I think with their work it's very obvious where or which part is sort of a hard edge and a soft edge. Basically these parts where you will have like an entire section where it's just completely straight. And then you will have this sort of thing where it's a bit more, faded out. Maybe they're using some kind of mixer brush or a soft brush, who knows? But that's kind of like a staple in their work. You don't see much of like these lines. I mean, you do see a little bit of here, but that's more of that's part of Hulk's face. I think that's Hulk, or his like injuries. But the point is, it's a very sort of digital approach. I know everything here is digital art, right? And you can make so much or so many kinds of art with or using digital mediums, but it just feels like this kind of style. It feels the most digital esque to me, anyway. Yeah, I just see a lot of these like soft sort of gradients. I don't see a lot of strong pen strokes. Basically, like the only lines you see is basically the outer lines or the contour lines, but within the actual figure, like you don't see as much. Or if you do, they're most likely just details. Now, for this space, it's like a Yatwa or Predator. Um, that's a comic, right? And they're holding some kind of skull. Let me just go back. Yeah. I'm not sure how they do the background. Maybe 3D, I guess. Who knows? I mean, it could be 2D because it's not like it's super. Well, you know what? Maybe it does look like a SketchUp model to me. Who knows? But even with this, I keep forgetting a Milo, oh, not Milo, but Miles Morales. I think that's the name. But the actual like spider name, I forgot. This one is Gwen. I love her uniform, so hot. And just the interior patterns, right? On the outside, it's all white, but in the inside, that's where the web is. I think that's such a unique look. Yeah, anyway, how often do you, or how like you don't really see much hatching? I mean, you do see some halftone textures, but that's more of a like an accessory instead of a legit part of the rendering, And I guess the lighting effects is another big thing in Simon's work. Here we have Iron Man. Let me just zoom in here. Ooh, I think the background was drawn. That's my guess. Or maybe it's a black and white sort of threshold filter in Photoshop. I'm not even sure what program they're using. Uh, oh, I do see a paper texture added in the end. Wait, was this done on paper? I don't even know anymore. I'm so confused. I think it was done digitally, but the paper texture was just added in the end. I think. But yeah, looking at this right now, you would assume this was a like a 3D model, sort of exported in a position in this pose, and then just touched up maybe in Photoshop or something. And the reason why is because it's kind of clean. Like you don't really see some like lines overshooting too much. You know, you don't really see. It feels a bit too. And it's not a bad thing. It feels more deliberate and just cleaner than the usual styles in comics. And I think it's a very very refreshing kind of look. Um, I mean, I don't really know an artist who's kind of like this in terms of like the clean. Like it's so clean and smooth at the same time. And I think all those complemented with these like colors. I'm not sure if he also colors his illustrations because I know in comics, you know, sometimes they separate the jobs. Like the penciler does the pencils, basically the graphite sketches or drawings, and then there's an inker who does the final inks, basically the black parts, and then they have a colorist sometimes where their job is to specifically just do the well colors. And if you look at comics, like Western comics, right, especially like the big mainstream stuff, like you know DC, Marvel, they're very vivid. You know, the like each page can be its own sort of print sometimes because of how vibrant everything is. You know, the ink work, the colors, even the call outs. You know, I think this is Batman with the bat. Pretty cool. And yeah, all of these effects, um, like even the color. I'm assuming it's color dodge or soft light here. And I've noticed when they use colors or add colors, even if there are some shifts in hues, like the main thing is always sort of a duality. Ooh, duality between warm and cold temperatures. Like you see, one side there's super warm, and then the other side is going to be a lot more cool. So it's basically between blues and reds, right? And that's kind of their base when it comes to doing colors. For example, right here, the interior of Batman is this, I think it's Robin, all warm. All of these ball thingies are bat bombs, also warm, but everything else outside of that is going to be on the cooler side. So you do need to space it out, right? You do need to be so red, 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 red. Even here's a little reddish right here, and then everything else is blue. So yeah, even their compositions look really great. Um, and it's super dynamic. Like it's very interesting. Like it's not boring. I would actually recommend, even though they don't do comics, but Sparth, um, even if they don't do like action scenes, it's all like environment art. They know how to make an interesting looking, or make an environment look interesting just by how, sorry, just by how they position the you know the view, you know, essentially the composition. And yeah, using a lot of blur effects too. Um, yeah, in the background, I see the 3D. I don't mind it. I don't mind. I think it's a good way to save time, and it actually works because, for example, in the background, you can tell it's kind of clean, right? Because it's 3D, but because of the way he draws or inks, it also looks clean. So it just fits. Like everything just fits. Like nothing seems out of place. So I think that's why it's very sort of believable. Um, it's the consistency, I guess, right? Like there's nothing like sticking out too much. Again, look at the reds and the blues sort of fighting here or complementing each other. Pretty cool. Oh, now this one again, reds and blues. Let me just open this in a new tab. This whole thing here, red, whole thing here, blue. Right, we have some blue here, maybe some reddish part here. That's usually the main like dichotomy, duality. And I think it works. Like you don't have to overcomplicate your colors, right? But even without the colors, I mean, it's so yeah. The noise texture is their favorite sort of in between value thing or brush. You could have just made it like a soft brush with no texture, but I think it just adds a bit of something, because it can become too smooth sometimes, you know. So I think it adds a little bit of that grain effect, or it just adds more teeth, I guess, to your image. Um, it makes it look less or not too refined, because if it's too smooth, it can be a bit weird, I guess. Yeah, pretty sharp anatomy too. Oh, another guy, Jorge Jimenez, right? Although he does do a lot more like hatch work, and he seems a lot more experimental with the way he does his inks. Uh, I'm not sure if that's because that's sort of the request from him, but people have mentioned in the comments when they did the art review of Jorge Jimenez that it does change per like comic book or release or something. Um, so I think he just knows how to change his style depending on what's needed of him. But yeah, but they both have this sort of sharp look to their anatomy, which I really do like. And it's not just the anatomy; it's the posing. They're almost always so just interesting to look at. It's not just sharp; they're a bit blocky too, like squarish, um, just bolder, strong shapes, right? Here we have Batman, Robin, and a dinosaur. I'm not sure where that's from. Uh, for the grass or foliage, I'm assuming it's some kind of 3D, maybe. But yeah, lots of blurs, motion blurs, even, right? Noise textures in the in betweens. Lots of gradients, soft light, color dodge, maybe. And aside from the contour lines, you see these sort of like reflective spotlight outlines here, these parts, to sort of encompass it's sort of Art Nouveau ish, just a little bit, but it's not too big or not as thick as more. For example, if you look at the work of like Adam Hughes, his outer lines tend to be way thicker than the interior lines, but I think it's not too prominent with Simone. Oh, this one's cool. What's this? It's like an esports event. Oh yeah, he's had a couple of images like this where he was drawing. Maybe not himself, but in this, how artists type usually draw like art spaces, or workspaces. Someone doing, where they have their tablet up or something. Um, I remember seeing that in his past work, but this one's pretty cool too. I do think everything else is done in 3D to save time, but definitely like the characters and maybe these ones 2D. It's just like the way he does it. It's so clean. Like it's almost hard to tell. Um, but here's the thing: even though it looks kind of clean, it doesn't look like fake, because when something is too 3D, I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Um, because there is 2D art that relies so much on 3D that starts to look fake. I don't see that in his work. Um, wait, that's not the the point I was trying to make. Oh, sorry. Sometimes when the artwork is too clean, it can make it look less handmade. But I think Simone here has a way of doing it that works. Like it feels human, you know? Like there's craftsmanship involved, right? And maybe it's because of the subtle details, using the soft brushes, the noise textures, um, the slight imperfections in between. Although it's hard to notice. that kind of add to that human vibe. So it's Jam something? Sajam? Fuck. I'm forgetting the name. But super cool. Ooh, wait, was this done by hand? No way. And maybe. It's just like this thing, the black villain is very apparent. Uh, there's no hatching there, but in between this sort of light area and this shadow is this noise texture. I like the hair. Let's go further down. Yeah, oh, very cool. Oh, I do see a little bit of an RGB shift effect. Pretty cool. Clean line work, but it's not too thick. Um, the composition. I'm not sure if this is like a cover or something, or just a random normal panel, but it's just it's so complete. You know, this could be a cover in itself, right? I love the rain effect here. Right? These lines and these like droplets of water. Pretty cool. No idea who this is. An actual bat guy. And again, look at the colors. Cools, warms. And aside from those two, obviously there's gonna be like other colors, right? It's not gonna be the main thing. You're gonna feel more of that difference in temperature than actual specific colors to the character. Basically every other color is muted aside from those two main things. Uh like the warms and the blues, or the reds and the blues. Or the warms and the cools, or the reds and the blues. Same thing here. It's just two temperatures fighting basically. And the thing in between is that sort of black fill-in. Ghost Rider, I believe. Wait a minute. Was this done on paper? I think so. I mean, I see his finger there. It's so clean. Wolverine. Wait, I need to zoom in. That's a photograph. If that's the case, is he using some kind of a? If this is done or was done traditionally, if he might be using. I'm not sure how he did this though. Spray paintbrush. I'm trying to find how he. Maybe it's a program. I may. Oh, traditional art. It is traditional. Oh, it's so over. There a process video here? Look, even at this view, it's so clean. Look how the line work is so minimal. Very interesting. I'm not sure if he does. Oh, I think this is the one I was referring to. The uh, you know, him drawing like the art space. How people think being a comic artist is. I love my job. How being a comic artist actually is. I know that you can even remove the word comic. You know, just leave it to artist. I think we have like ideals of how, you know, if you start doing art, you're gonna have like fun all day, but eventually it kind of becomes its own job. But it's not totally bad. I think. I think people do over exaggerate it a bit. Both the the positive side and the negative side, I think it's okay. I would rather be doing art than something else, and I'm getting paid, right? Oh, if you look at the line work here, it's a bit more loose, not too tight, but it still looks like the perspective is still pretty strong. The black fill-in is very cool. Um, I don't see a lot of brush textures. It's kept simple. It reminds me of one of the sketches of or illustrations of Ethan Lee, Ethan space Lee. Yeah, but again, look at the duality between the warm and the cool. The warm indicates, in this case, the positive, and the cool indicates the the sad, negative side. Yeah, well, even yeah, like it's more sketchier, right? But it still looks clean. Like I don't see a lot of like wasteful lines from his work, which it does make me jealous because I'm kind of messy with my work. Look at that, so creative. Adding the shadows, the lighting, the colors, it's so attractive. What's this? Let me drink some. Maybe this is like Copic markers, but this soft gradient here is still something that I'm trying to figure out. Like this noise texture. Maybe it was done in Photoshop, like after it was like taken or like photographed. They added this sort of texture after via some kind of digital software. Who knows? Batman. Look at that. Ooh, sexy. It has that Tron vibes, Tron. For those of you, I haven't read. I know it's based on a game, I think, but I've only seen like the movie. And there's this like dichotomy between like the cooler colors and the warmer colors, right? I do see a little bit, or well, not a little bit, a lot of it in the work of Simone. Oh, look at that! Holy shit! I think I'm starting to believe that a lot of his work is just done traditionally. It's these soft textures that I think it's some kind of spray paint or something, or maybe like a sponge brush. But look at the cleanliness, the smoothness of this thing. And also the unwasteful lines. I mean, look at the line work in the torso or chest of Batman here. Do you see any wasteful lines? Right? I don't see any. It's just so freaking. It's efficient, but not too efficient that it looks kind of boring. You do see a little bit of like, um, not waviness, but I wouldn't even say imperfection. It's just artsy. Even if there's minimal lines, it's still very artsy. Like it feels deliberate. Is that a dinosaur? I'm not familiar with the whole like DC having or the DC universe having like dinosaurs, unless it's that green guy. The kid who's like color green who can transform into like any creature. I think he's DC, right? Um, damn Venom, that tongue. Uh, Again with the noise texture here, it's like a splatter effect or something. Oh, vampire Wonder Woman. Hot. I mean, look at how minimal the facial details are. Reminds me a little bit of. I think I already mentioned him quite a bit. Adam Hughes. Uh, especially in regards to women. Ooh. So this is the magic guy. Forgetting his name. The doctor. Very minimal. Minimalist. Yeah, why? Oh, this one seems a little. Yeah, I think I'm reading too much into it. Easy. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, showing off his oh, those biceps are so big. Nice cat, right? Yeah, I still can't think of anyone who's. You know what? Maybe Adam Hughes, because his work does tend to look a little more smooth when it comes to like the blockiness and everything, or the dynamic sort of shots. I think Jorge Jimenez is also a good guy. Such a hot pose. What? Oh wait, is this like a process series? So it's more of a whip, work in progress. Even these cats look so clean. Okay, red pencil, interesting. Okay, we do have, and then the inks. Wait, what does it? Oh, they're using some kind of light box. Okay. After the red like pencil lines or outlines, inks. Okay. Okay, that's cheating. I don't even know what's happening in between. Sorry, something is happening with my phone. Does it keep vibrating? Sorry, my bad. So much dead air there. Sorry. Anyway, you know what? That's oh, I think this is this Gwen? Oh, kind of hot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this review of Simone. Such a cool artist, very unique style. And I'm still doubting, like, is this all like the inks anyway traditionally done? Because it looks so clean that you would assume that it's made or done digitally. Holy shit! I mean, look at these edges over here. I think that some kind of obviously you won't see that in the final print. It's like an overshoot thing, but because it's in the border, right? I think they are using some kind of spray thing or like some kind of splatter brush thing to achieve these textures. But you have to be very careful with them, and you can tell he is with it. Like these parts over here in the chest, in the upper torso, right? So clean. Anyway, that's it. I will link this page in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.